Scott. How are you?
Hey, great to meet you, Rachel.
Nice to meet you. So to start, re this movie is set around where I went to college because it's supposed to be set in the Appalachian Mountains. I know you guys didn't film exactly in the Appalachian Mountains, but you guys spent a lot of time in that area. For you, how did that kind of help you get into the mindset of this character and understand where he came from when you got to spend time where this family was quote unquote living?
Yeah, I did a movie called Child of God a while ago now, and I went and lived there for 6 months. And I lived in the wilderness, and I actually lived in a cave for a long time in the Appalachian Mountains. And that movie was, one of the first of many films I've done in that area. For this one, I went to the town that this was set in um, weeks early, and I would go into bars and I would find locals who I felt sounded like how I wanted my character to sound like, and I'd offer to buy them a beer if they'd come to my car, and like could record them, and I think some of them thought I was hitting on them, and I was like, no, I just really want your voice, and so that's every role is different, but me, I just wanted to pick a couple of people out and of locals in that specific area, but it's something I do all the time is go to the area normally ahead of time if it's something like this and try to just really immerse myself in it.
Yeah, and it is such a specific feel, like that kind of area of the US, especially. You're very brave for hanging out in a cave in the Appalachian Mountains. But
But if you want to see that, it's called Child of God. You'll like
yeah,
it if you like part of the country.
but I do also this movie, what I think is so fascinating about it is yes, it's an action movie. Yes, there are like those high stakes elements, but it also is a family drama. For you, what was it like getting to like craft that character and work with your fellow actors to kind of build out these relationships when there are so many kind of high stakes things happening in other moments of the film?
So you just mean how the cast interacted with each other?
Yeah, to build out those relationships.
Yeah. Well, I think that everybody's came really prepared for this project. Even somebody like Chapel, who is this is her first film, and she came completely ready. So if and Orlando was dialed in, Andy was dialed in, Garrett was dialed in. It's like if everybody comes ready to a project like this, which is really the way we're supposed to show up, and that's how everybody showed up for this. And that work is there, and there's a lot of trust. And the Nelms brothers are amazing at what they do, and Johnny's just such a good DP. So we just had a really we were set for success.
And I talked to Niles Brothers yesterday and I said the line is in the trailer twice, which makes me laugh very hard. But I do like that this movie has those almost I didn't want to call it cheesy, but those cheesier action movie quotes because it does have the like I'm three missions and I'm out, which you're like, no one says that, but like in an action movie, you're like, yeah, he's gonna be out, like you're fully on board with whatever these characters are saying. As an actor, is it fun to like get to play up moments that you like know that an audience is going to really just kind of get very hype and excited about in movies like this?
Yeah, I really learned that when I did Venom.
Mm.
There's certain lines in when I got the script for Venom, I said only this works in a huge Marvel film. And it does, people love that stuff. People love those lines that just these large. I think those lines transcend into taking the audience into another world where people don't talk like this. Things are heightened, and but you kind of always wish in life somebody would come up to you and say like, "We're gonna go to this casino and we're gonna make $6 million tonight. Pack your bag." Like I want those kind of lines, where it's like, "Oh, okay." So we get that in movies, and that's why I love movies so much.
Yeah, as a Venom girl, I 100% agree. I was like, I love that movie and all of the off the wall lines that become part of it. But also, like I said earlier, I do love that this movie has those grounded family moments in it. For you as an actor, is that something you kind of look for in projects to as insane or off the rails as something can get, that it still has those grounded moments for people to kind of connect with?
Yeah, I think the grounded moments are what make it human that we can all relate to. It's everything we want in a film is to connect with who we're watching and what they're like and their families are like, all that.
And I think with this movie in particular, it is fun to see, especially like Orlando Bloom in an action role like this, because I come from the generation of him being an action star, but it's like a fantasy action star, which is a different kind of genre than what this is. When you guys are having all of those grounded moments as actors and characters, is it for you like how do you guys kind of navigate the reality of these characters? Because it is still, it's not a fantasy fight sequence or a fantasy situation, but it is still something completely out of like your realm of reality.
I just think it's, the definition of acting is like living truthfully under imaginary circumstances. So the ability to believe that this could be happening, I think, is what we all tap into.
Mhm.
And I mean, as heightened and crazy as this film gets and exciting, that stuff happens. And so, we just happen to be showing a slice of what it does get that crazy out there in the underbelly of the world, especially in America and especially in that part of the country. So,
Mhm.
yeah, it's easy to kind of tap into that.
Yeah, and from what I could tell earlier, a lot of your work does come down to also like accent work and finding the voice of your characters. Is there any other like things that you do as an actor to kind of prepare for a character and specifically for your role in Red Right Hand?
Yeah, I just think it's just knowing. Like I said, I really know this world.
Mm.
It's if you were to ask me to go to Chelsea in the UK or like different parts of London, I would be more uneasy. This felt like going back home for me.
Yeah,
Mhm.
that's so cool. I used to do Meisner, so I'm always interested to
Oh,
hear.
that's
I'm always interested to hear how actors kind of approach things and their own kind of character development. I do like this movie is also stacked with actors that everyone knows from something I think of a completely different genre, with the exception of Garrett, who is just in Ambulance, but he most people know from like the Mindy Project. Then you have Orlando Bloom, who's Legolas, and you have Andy McDowell, who is a rom com queen, and then they're all in this high stake action thriller family drama. There's too many labels, but they do have all of these kind of this influence when you're an actor and you're like looking at that call sheet, do you look at it as like, oh my God, these are the big players? Or is it just like, cool, these are the characters I have to work with and figure out how these actors are approaching it?
well. First of all, can you? There's like a chainsaw going outside. Is it ruining your interview? Can you hear
No, you're
that?
fine. I couldn't even hear it.
It's crazy. I've been really fortunate to work with a lot of great people.
Mhm.
So this movie, I've worked with some of the greats. I remember one of my first films. I was sitting with Robert Duvall talking about barbecue sauce and the best barbecue sauce in the world. So I think that we're all just actors trying to do the best that we can, and I don't really think about that stuff.
That's, I love that. Just, nope, we're actors doing a job.
Yeah.
Uh, with this movie though, like when I talked to the brothers yesterday, they were saying how Hugh and Orlando had done a lot of the like being there early and researching all that kind of stuff. Did you guys do that together? And if so, what was one thing you kind of found together that really helped you create a bond for this movie?
Well, I think that Orlando and I had a brotherly connection,
Mm-hmm.
like for real. It just felt like he could definitely be my part of my family. So it just was there. It was inherent when I met him. And I don't say that about every other actor, but we had like a brother type vibe. Yeah.
Oh, I love that's oh, I love that because it's like when you're playing siblings, it's very hard because there is such a specific dynamic to like understanding that. And so it is really cool when it works with
Mhm.
casting. But with a movie like this that does have, the elements that we're used to with like 80s and 90s action stories while also having all these extra layers, what for you do you hope audiences take away when they get to see a red right hand and get to meet all these characters?
I think people walk away saying that was money well spent. It was so entertaining. I got to see a slice of life that I don't always get to see. I got to see these actors pour their hearts out and directors who have a vision, giving a great story that is entertaining and thrilling. and some great performances. You know, Chapel's first film, and she's going to go on to do a lot of great things.
Mhm.
So just there's a lot of special things about this film, and I think the audiences will respond to it.
Yeah, and for one fast last quick question, we did say earlier how you want someone to walk up to you and be like, "We're gonna make $6 million back to back. We're going to Vegas."
Yeah.
But is there one like action line, no matter how cheesy it is, that you were just like, "No, that's still the coolest thing anyone has ever said in a movie, and I will stand by it."
I mean, I don't know. There's like, in a weird way, Jaws just came to mind. You're going to need a bigger boat, but I don't know why that doesn't really fit. I think that anything from Die Hard, Rambo, or Terminator 2, Judgment Day, those films have some of the best one-liners I've ever heard in action movies.
I do like that you had to say T2's full government name.
Yeah.
How
Yes,
to
I
make some
did.
people know that it
Yeah,
is Terminator 2 Judgment Day.
yeah, it is.
But
I
thank you
think it
so
is, right? Isn't it Judgment Day? It
yeah,
is Judgment.
that's
Yeah, yeah,
T2 is Judgment Day. Yeah. I
yeah.
just like that you said the full name. I was like, probably one of the first people ever
That's
to not
great.
just say T2 or Terminator 2.
Thank you.
But I love it so much. Thank you so much for talking with me. I can't wait for people to get to see the movie, and I think they're gonna really like it.
Thank you so much, Rachel. Good to meet you today.
Of course, it was nice meeting you. Have a great day.
Nice to meet you too.